Hey everyone, I am Emerald Ambassador Sally Lewis, and I just wanted to share with you today something that I have been observing about recruiting and ranking in our business. So as for the last 2 years that I've been doing this, I've kind of been gauging, and now looking back especially, been gauging where our teams were at and where people have been with healthy recruiting and what those numbers were at different ranks in your business. And I feel like now at this point, as I'm going back and coaching and as I'm looking at my own personal recruiting, I can kind of see and gauge if our movement is healthy or not based on how many people we're recruiting and kind of the level and what rank we're at. So first, let me just build kind of that visibility, and I'll tell you how you can utilize this to kind of see where you are and what you need to be doing to increase your recruiting based on where you want to be. So as a silver ambassador, you've just added 3 people to your organization under yourself. You're working toward gold. So gold is going to be roughly 20 people on your team that are ordering at least 100 PV. So between having just 3 people and having 20 people, some people can do that really quickly. Others, it might take you a few months, but on average, or a good range of people that you as a silver ambassador trying to work toward gold want to meet is anywhere between 3, because just even yourself, you want to be adding at least 3 people a month. Between 3 and 7 people is a good range to see if you're a silver ambassador that your team is adding every month. Now, let's say you're gold and you're working towards senior gold. On average, again, of course, your personal goal should be at least to add 3 new ambassadors to your team every month personally. But as a gold, what I've seen and kind of a good range that you and your recruiting should be, I would say would be between 8 and 15 a month is a good range to show that you're growing and are adding enough people to keep up with attrition and still move forward. Now, as you get to senior gold, you've got multiple people on your team that are at least working toward going silver, probably 1 or 2 business builders. And so these numbers are going to start growing exponentially. But just remember, if you're new, this is not you doing all this work yourself. That's the beauty of network marketing. So at a senior gold, what we've seen in our team, and I think across the board, is that if you're growing healthfully, you would be adding between, let's say, 18 to 25 people a month on your team. If you're really rocking it, your team is probably pushing towards 30. If you're just maintaining, you're probably still in the 15 to 20 range. And then here's where it really hits home is when you're a Ruby team, you should be consistently adding around about 35 people, 35. So in between 30 and 40 people to your team if you want to continue growing as a Ruby team, because here at this point, you've got 100 people on your team ordering, and that means you've got more people that could possibly be turning off due to attrition. And you've got more people that are adding to your business. So you've got to have that number to keep growing, and you're working towards senior Ruby, which is 750 pay points. So at a senior Ruby level, you want to be almost in the 60s, you guys. If you're not consistently recruiting in the 60s, you're probably not going to be moving forward toward Emerald. You're going to be probably just maintaining that Ruby or that senior Ruby and not really able to push forward as quickly as you want to. And just remember too, when you've got more people on your team, that attrition can really catch up with you. And so having those higher numbers is really important when you are doing that. Now at a senior Ruby, you've got some serious business builders underneath you. Even if you're a rock star recruiter, you've not been able to get that far most likely by yourself. I'm so sorry. There's a dog in the backyard. Copper. No, sir. Sorry. And here we go. Now you're working from senior Ruby to being a jewel. You're going to have anywhere from 60 plus on your team. And when you hit Emerald, you're really going to be wanting to make sure that your team is recruiting close to the hundreds. I know for me personally, when my team has healthiest and actually moved forward, we were recruiting between 90 people to 125. And of course, if your team's rocking and rolling, it would even be higher than that. So once you hit jewel rank, if you're not recruiting in the hundreds or in a roundabout, you're probably going to have trouble keeping your points and definitely going to have trouble moving forward. And that's what I I saw during the fall and winter of last year. During summer and the end of summer, our team was rocking and rolling, and we were, hitting the 120s, and a sideline of mine was, even upper in the 130s and 150s, and we were like, woohoo! And then recruiting slowed for whatever reason, multiple reasons at the end of the year last year, and we have been, and which I'll explain in a little bit, recruiting more on Ruby levels and senior Ruby levels, and that means we have had trouble keeping our Emerald points and staying where we wanted to stay, and for sure moving forward. But just for those of you who are Sapphire and Diamond, some numbers that I have seen as far as healthy growth and momentum, Sapphires want to be recruiting upwards of 200, 250, and Diamonds for sure in the 300 or 400s plus, obviously. But why I think this is so important is, unfortunately, our team has kind of hit a bit of a roadblock at the end of last year, and we've been moving forward and all of that since then. But what I've learned from that is that your team has to recruit at the level that your rank is, or you will move backwards. You will not be able to keep up with attrition, and for sure will not be able to move forward. So as I've been coaching, there are some people on my team who maybe have hit Ruby, but right now their recruiting on their team is the recruiting averages of a gold team, and so they are really struggling to keep points. And honestly, some people, you can mirror the points that are in their organization based on the people that are actually working still, and they're recruiting. So they might have gold points or senior gold points where they've ranked Ruby, but also their recruiting is matching that level. So it's going to be really hard for them to get out of that if they can't pick up their recruiting. And likewise for me, for myself, I'm an Emerald, and thank the Lord we have not gone below Emerald, but I'll be real with you. We have not been moving forward like I know we could have. But it's also because our team as a whole is recruiting just about in that Ruby, almost senior Ruby range in the 60s or so. And so we have just barely been keeping our Emerald points, and for sure have not been able to move forward like we were at the end of last year, or the end of the summer last year, when we were in the 100s and moving almost towards Sapphire. So I really wanted to stress this because sometimes it's hard to tell. And obviously we talk about personal recruiting and recruit, like don't slow down, obviously. But what does that mean? You still can't do it all by yourself. If you're a Ruby who's lost rank, and you're trying to scramble to get it together, you're not going to be able to pull yourself out of that slump. So what does that mean? You've got to keep recruiting yourself, but you do also have to help get people silver, try and find new business builders, or relight some fires and get on some killer coaching calls with some of your business builders and set some goals. Because if you can hit those ranges, you can start to see your business come back into momentum, and you will be recruiting at the level and the rank that you should be to be able to move forward and to keep the rank that you're at. So I really hope this helps you in your business to see where you are, why maybe you've been moving backwards. We can kind of get into that management mode, and we never want to be there because recruiting is the name of the game in this business. If people are quitting, if people aren't taking the product seriously, if you have business builders who are really shaky, you're growing your level of influence, and you're growing your level of who you're going to get on your team basically by your consistency in your posting. So if you stop recruiting then you're really cutting your feet off out from under you, because the level of people that you can recruit now versus the people you could have recruited when you first started is actually changing, and you're going to see people that have been watching you for months and months and months that are of higher influence themselves, or strong leaders that will jump on later. And so it's important for you to continue personally recruiting, but also to keep that duplication moving. And that's what our team's working on for sure right now, is that you don't want your leaders and your business builders to get burned out by having to personally recruit for your whole team. You want that duplication going. We've got some amazing leaders that are doing videos on that right now for sure. Brooke Hemingway and Emily Gibson have been doing some awesome stuff and that we've been using on our team. But you want to duplicate that, because that's the beauty of this business and network marketing, is that you're sharing that responsibility. So I don't want to talk for too much longer, but I really hope that these ranges and these ranks and recruitment kind of help you gauge where you're at. If your team's only recruiting like a gold, don't beat yourself up that you've lost your Ruby ranks, but do something about it and try and get that recruiting up. And obviously focusing on those three key things that corporate is always looking at us for percentages, which is signing people, making sure they have their subscriptions on, making sure people are taking their products and sticking it out for at least 60 days plus, and then making sure at least 10 to 20% of the people that you're signing go silver within the first 60 days. So those 3 things are things that our team is really looking at now and using as a litmus test for our growth. But also not just recruit and help people go silver, but put a number to that. Where should you be as a Ruby ambassador? Where should you be as a gold ambassador? Or if you're trying to get gold, how many people should you be recruiting? So thanks so much for listening in today. I hope this was helpful to you, and go out there and rock your business. This is the most wonderful opportunity, and we can all do this. It doesn't matter what your passes look like or what the last 6 months has looked like. We can always turn things around by activity and by hard work and just loving on as many people as possible. Y'all have a great day.